once again, we find ourselves, John, just dead center in the middle of another situation. We got news to the left of me and questions to the right, and here I am stuck in the middle on the Rage Select podcast right here on Rage Select. That was not the best intro I've ever done.
No, actually, I thought that was pretty good.
It was all right.
I didn't know where you were going with it at first, but then I did, and I thought it was clever.
Okay, well, there we go. There we go. Good. All right. Good. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It's time for another podcast here on Rage Select, and I am Jeff.
I'm John.
And yeah, we've got a weird mishmash, a potpourri, so to speak, of news and questions, and we've got a little game review this week, for later. So stick around. But before we start all of that, John, it's time for the $1 million question. How's it going with you?
Wait, if I answer this question, you're going to give me $1 million?
No. The question is worth $1 million. Oh. If you had to buy it from me, it would cost you $1 million.
Oh.
The answer is worth roughly like $2.47.
Oh, I don't know if I want to answer the question because I don't want to owe you $1 million.
No, that's all right. No, see, we work together often, so I'll waive the fee for you. Okay. It'll just be $12.
I don't know if I want to pay $12.
You don't want to pay $12?
I don't want to pay you any money, dude.
Okay. What if I say that?
You know what?
Okay.
Add it to my tab.
All right. I'll add it to you. I'll add it to what you owe me already. How's it going, John?
It's all right.
Yeah.
I
have a question for you.
Sure.
So you have moved recently.
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
No,
sort of.
I mean, I'm still unpacking.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I am in a new place.
Did you move like from one room in your house?
No. I've moved to an apartment.
But
you out of a house into an apartment. I am still unpacking.
But you are sans internet.
I am completely internetless except when I'm at work.
Okay. Is it like hell? Is it like hot? Is it flames on the side of your face? What's it like to live in a world with no internet?
So I will say it sucks.
Okay.
Because I can't download the new games like Hellblade came out this week. I can't play it. I can't download and play it. I never got around to buying Super Hot VR, which I totally want to play. I can't download and play it.
Okay.
I can't download other VR games that I want to download and play.
Do you not have neighbors with Wi-Fi you can steal?
No, everything password protected.
Ah, son of a bitch.
And what sucks is I'm just close enough to the head offices that I can see the head office network, but just far away from it that I can't connect. That it won't. It doesn't give me any bandwidth.
Are you?
So
have you considered like standing out on your balcony with like a piece of tinfoil attached to your router, just like please?
Well, I mean, I could get a Wi-Fi sniffer can, whatever, make a Pringles can. I used to do that back in the day. But
there you go.
I forget what they're called, but I mean, some friends used to do that and to steal Wi-Fi when we would be on like trips or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But no. So that sucks. However, I've got a shit ton of Blu-rays and I've got and DVDs and I've got a shit ton of games that don't require internet.
Okay.
Though my entertainment center's not actually hooked up, so I can't watch or play anything at the moment.
Damn, dude.
It's in the middle, like it's going to be set up.
That's the first thing. You didn't even unpack silverware before you set up your PlayStation.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's like that stuff is still getting set up. But I have my iPad.
Okay.
I take it to work with me.
Okay.
Work has a wireless network that we can connect tablets, cell phones, personal laptops to if we need to. And so I've just been downloading a shit ton of stuff from Netflix.
Okay.
And then going home and watching it.
Okay.
And then coming back the next day and downloading a shit more stuff. So I've been watching a lot of TV shows.
Okay.
So,
anything stand out in particular?
Let's see. Well, I finished off all of NCIS, which I think we might have talked about previously.
Yes.
I got to finish off that. I watched all of the first season of I finished off season 2 and season 3 of Voltron.
Okay.
Which is really good.
Okay.
I've started watching with Amanda Penny Dreadful, but I've only gotten like an episode or 2 in it because we want to watch it together.
Yeah.
And we have such opposite schedules that it can only happen like 2 days out of the week.
Sure.
And then I'm in the middle of watching Winona Earp.
Okay.
Which is a show from the Sci-Fi Channel about the great great granddaughter of Wyatt Earp.
Okay.
And it turns out Wyatt Earp was cursed, and his family's cursed, and whoever the eldest of the heir apparent of the bloodline gets his gun, like gets his cursed gun, and has to hunt down demons.
Okay.
And there are 7. Basically, Wyatt Earp killed 77 people. Criminals, and because of the curse, when he died, all 77 of them resurrected as demons.
Okay.
And so the heir has to then hunt down and kill all of the demons to send them back to hell. But if that heir dies, all those demons come back again.
Oh, so it's like Dark Souls.
Yeah, so it's like it's.
You see how I got that in there? 5 minutes into the podcast.
So it's not great.
Okay.
I'm watching it just because there's nothing else. I am probably going to watch Broadchurch next.
Broadchurch is intensely depressing.
Yeah,
but it's worth watching.
The BBC version of it. Yeah, not the. There was a U.S. remake.
Oh,
wasn't there?
I think so, but
also starring David Tennant, if I remember correctly. I don't remember.
Yeah,
but yeah. So it's like I downloaded the first season of that to watch. I can't remember if I downloaded anything else. I think that and those two things are kind of like the things on my list right now. And then I've been trying to find like kind of more upbeat stuff. I know Broadchurch is depressing, like I already know that.
It's a very dour show.
But it's a show that I've been wanting to watch for a while that I kept putting off.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, you know what? I got nothing better to do. Let's fucking do this.
Okay.
So I'm trying to preface that with at least shows that are somewhat upbeat and lighthearted.
Sure.
And police procedurals seem to do that, and a lot of the shows I wanted to download aren't downloadable on Netflix. So,
boo.
But
well, I'll tell you, I got a chance last week to watch the new Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, Volume 2.
Yeah, it finally came out on VOD and all
love
that stuff.
movie.
I didn't care for it as much as first one.
Get out of this house. You're not allowed. Get out. Get out of this. Get out. I will finish the podcast on my own.
Okay, good.
You get the fuck out.
You do all the Jeff parts as well.
I'm Jeff. I'm stupid. I don't like the things everybody likes.
No, I'm messing with you. You're allowed to like whatever like and not like whatever you want.
Like it wasn't bad. It's just that like I felt that that it was it was that thing that you see a lot of times with sequels where it was largely, in my opinion, kind of a rehash of the first one with some extra themes to it.
Elements of it, yeah, I see that.
I feel like there was a lot of stuff where they were like, ooh, this is the thing that somebody liked in the first movie, so let's just do way more of that in the second one. And I was like, well, I'm more of a fan. Matt and I get way into this in our Patreon video this week, but I'm more of a fan of when you just start up with new original ideas. Like, so... it was okay. It was fine. I think I maybe would have preferred if they had tightened it up a little bit, if it was a little bit shorter, and if they had cut some of the chaff off. I also thought that it was goofy. It was a little bit too goofy in places where I felt like some characters got way goofier than they were in the first one, and I was like, I don't know about all that, but. It, like, again, not bad, but I think the first one is just such a tight movie, such a well constructed, no frame wasted beginning, middle, end.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, I love Volume 1 and Volume 2 equally, so that's just me. But I can totally understand complaints. I understand that neither movie is a perfect movie, but
On the other hand, Rick and Morty last week was fucking incredible. This is great. It was wonderful, and I probably will not shut up about it for a while now. I'm surprised at how I held off watching Rick and Morty for a long time, and I'm surprised at how I watched it and I was like, that was good. I mean, I don't know if like Grant's been saying it's the greatest show on television for like 3 years now. I don't know if it's that, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then like as I've watched it more, it's just grown on me more and more in this current season.
Well, I've heard this
great.
Each episode this season has outdone the previous one.
I think it's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I haven't watched it because I haven't watched any of Rick and Morty, but
Yeah, I highly recommend it. I feel like they have. I hope that they don't start doing the thing that I feel like a lot of shows, Archer, It's Always Sunny, a lot of shows that I like, end up eventually falling back on references to previous episodes that were very popular. And so far, Rick and Morty has largely stayed away from that. Like once per season, they have this kind of ad hoc interdimensional cable show that they do where it's like a lot of ad-libbing that then they animate, that sort of thing. But other than that, there are some themes that kind of go throughout the show, and they do return to some characters from time to time, but by and large, like, I feel like they haven't hit that point yet. So I'm very happy. Very happy with what I got so far. Also, Game of Thrones has just been like fucking bananas this season. The last episode was bananas. It was more impressive than a fair amount of movies that I've seen recently. So,
you know what I did get in the mail other day? I haven't actually played it yet, but I'm looking forward to sitting down and actually playing it and talking about it on the podcast in the future sometime.
Yeah.
The Super Hot card game.
Oh yeah,
I got my copy of it.
Yeah,
from the Kickstarter. So that's
I mean, like, it's got to come with like a playing board where when you put the card down, it either says super, or hot, or something like that.
Does I mean, I did buy the player mat, which was a little bit cheaper in quality than I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it doesn't make any noises.
Damn it!
But yeah, it's interesting.
I just want to change it so that my the little thing that unlocks my car does that. So when instead of going like chirp chirp, I just want my car to go super hot. It's like super is unlocked and hot is locked, and that's what I want it to do.
Okay.
I don't know. Well, I tell you what. Let's jump in. We have, like I said, a scattered, smattering, weirdo amount of news, but we do have a very large item, John, something that a lot of people have been waiting a long time for. This is just man, I don't know how I can't hype this enough. Listener, you should get excited enough because Valve has announced a new game. They've announced a card game spinoff for Dota. Oh shit! Sorry about that. I'm sure that was.
Yeah. Well, it's like the funny thing is I don't have internet except when I'm at work. So I was completely oblivious to this. All I know is that it got announced.
Yep.
And then every news site was like, people are pissed at Valve, and I was like, why are people pissed at Valve this time? Apparently, like the day before, Valve was like, tomorrow we announce a new game from Valve, and everyone's like, oh shit, Valve is announcing a new game. This is the game. It's like, and we've been working on this game for a long time, and blah 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 blah. And everyone's like, oh shit, a new game from Valve they've been working on for a long time. Could it be? Could it be a new IP? Could it be a sequel to one of the games that they've never gotten to number 3 on?
Yep.
Could it be any number of those things? And it's like Artifact. Oh, cool. What is that? It's a new IP. It's a Dota card game. Fuck.
I mean, like, here's the thing. I don't really. I'm of two minds. The rational, intellectual, cold and unfeeling robot with no heart side of my body is like, well, of course it's a card game because it seems like everybody's got to have a MOBA and a card game and some competitive.
They got to get in on that Hearthstone, Elder Scrolls,
Gwent, yeah, like
bandwagon.
Yeah, we got to get on the bandwagon. We got to get a card game out there, and yeah, I mean, Valve tends to do things like this well. I'm sure it'll be a good game. I'm sure it'll be a good card game. It's supposed to have lanes. It's going to be
probably be able to sell cards on the marketplace.
There'll probably be cards that are gold, and they've got cards with different outfits on them. And one card
is pay like $500
is a Team Fortress 2 skin. But then there's the old commercial about the frosted mini wheats, and it's like. The adult in me loves how these things are, but the kid in me is like, fuck you! Portal or Half-Life or Left 4 Dead or something, man. Something. Can we get something? I'd settle for Counter-Strike 2 at this point. Like,
shit, I'd settle for a new IP that is not tied to any game at all.
Sure.
Like,
yes.
Hell, I would have been okay if they had said, hey, we're releasing a card game that is not tied to Dota.
Yeah.
I would have been like, all right, I guess.
Team Fortress 3, maybe? I don't, like, something? No? Come on, Valve. It's been so long. Don't do this.
Yeah, I think the last thing they released was like The Lab, which was released in like 2006 or something like that, or 2009 or something.
Yeah, no, that was for the Vive, so that was 2 years ago?
No. Like the original The Lab, which is just a bunch of Portal levels.
Oh, yeah. No, they do. They do have you can technically download the VR suite. You remember the Vive demo where they take Atlas apart and you can.
Okay.
My friend has that. Like, I've played it at his house, and there's like a bow and arrow game and another stupid game and whatever. But yeah,
they didn't even show any footage of the game.
No.
It's just literally. Like, it's just literally a bunch of gemstones.
Yep.
And then, like, the title.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, way to fucking...
It's very much nothing. And I'm sure that for people who are... Oh, my God, I didn't even see this. So this is a YouTube channel called Play Artifact. I'm sorry, I didn't even look at this, at the like to dislike ratio on this video.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the official one, but it's 3,000 dislikes, or 3,000 likes to 23,000 dislikes. Like...
Oh, no, people are upset.
Ooh,
People are very upset.
Are they very... I mean, like... But, I mean, I guess... I can understand why you'd be upset. I guess that it's just... What, are we living in an age where unless Valve puts out Half-Life 3, it doesn't matter what you do. If it's not Half-Life 3, we don't give a fuck. I think if it hadn't been something,
a card game spin-off to Dota,
yeah.
Like if it hadn't been, like, I think a card game would have pissed people off regardless.
Yeah.
That's if it had just been a card game. But if it had been original IP, people would have been okay.
Yeah.
If it had been, tied to anything other than Dota, people probably would have been less angry.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact that it's a fucking Dota spinoff and it's a fucking card game, people are upset.
Okay, fair enough.
I have no opinion because I'm not going to play it ever. So,
Oh, you'll play it on the Super Awesome Video Game Show.
God damn it,
you're going to
Jeff.
do it there. Because we're going to cover...
No, I won't play it. You're going to play it.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe...
I'm going to sit back and watch and be like, ho, look at this card game. Isn't it funny?
Maybe this is the card game that finally gets me to play a card game, but I doubt it because if Hearthstone couldn't make me do it, then I doubt anything is going to be able to make me do it.
Funny thing is, I play card games.
Yeah.
I actually play card games on my tablet.
But why are you not going to play this? Just salt? Salty salts?
I don't care.
Salt.
No, I don't. I'm not even salty about it. It's not going to come out on a tablet. It's PC only.
Okay.
Just like Gwent is not out on a tablet. It's PC and
But Gwent's still in beta, right?
I don't know.
I don't think Gwent has actually released yet.
But I don't know if it's coming out on tablets or not. So it's just like
that's Bethesda. Or no, wait, that's not Bethesda. CD Projekt Red.
Yeah. But regardless,
is there any Gwent the Witcher card game? Wikipedia says PS4, Xbox One, PC. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one of those things where I don't ever expect to play this on a tablet, so I don't care.
Okay, fair enough. Well, we'll see. That it's a bit of a bummer, and we also have a second bummer this week.
Oh,
and I like to call this particular story Warner Brothers. Boy, Warner Brothers just cannot leave the Shadow of Mordor franchise alone. Remember when Shadow of Mordor originally came out and they had like all those weird stream guidelines where you had to like mention the website, you couldn't point out bugs in the game, and like they made the people they gave early copies of Shadow of Mordor, they like made them sign this weird NDA where they could like stream it, but they couldn't point out bugs. They had to call it Shadow of Mordor. They couldn't use the words Lord of the Rings, and they had to like mention the website, and they had to do all, and it was pissing people off because nobody likes, streamers or YouTubers. None of us, the audience doesn't like it, and we don't like when people tell you specifically what to do, right? If we want to say ding dong dicks on the air, we want to be able to say that, right?
yeah.
Well, now Shadow of War is coming out, and every single video that I've seen of it has looked absolutely fantastic. It's looked great. I love the orcs that have the different, I love the way that Snackbox might be able to come back into my game in Shadow of Mordor,
yeah.
in War for Mordor, but they're putting in microtransactions.
Of course they are.
Okay, so here's maybe we can talk about this. You seem very nonplussed by this, but
I'm not. I'm just saying, of course they are, because it's Warner Brothers, and why not put microtransactions in every game that they fucking release?
Did Injustice 2 have microtransactions?
Yeah, I mean, in the same way that Overwatch does.
We could buy. Oh, you could buy the
mother boxes.
The mother boxes. Okay. Yeah, and it's the same fucking thing here, where it's like you can buy loot boxes, and you can buy. Well, what are they? They're different. You can buy war chests and loot chests and like XP bonuses and stuff like that. And I mean, fuck, dude. Like, just it doesn't I don't know. I mean, technically speaking, it's not. I hope that. My hope is that this is some bullshit that was added on by Warner Brothers, and that they didn't shove any of this into the actual game progression.
Yeah.
To the point where it feels, or that it doesn't pull it up on screen, or it doesn't offer it to you. I don't know. I still remain largely in the camp of, if I pay for a $60 single player game, I should get a fucking $60 single player game, and that this stuff, while optional, is still gross to me. I don't know. It's just like you're trying to just chisel more money out of people, and they always use the exact same rationale, where it's like, well, some people don't have the time to level up, so we could just give them the opportunity to just buy this stuff with real money. I don't know. It just, to me, it throws off the balance of the way the game. Like, if you were to Deus Ex,
I think if I have one issue with this,
okay, tell me about it.
It's that it's a single player game.
Yep.
It's not multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least with Mother Boxes and Injustice 2, that's a multiplayer game, and you're actually getting things that are going to affect the way you're playing online.
Yeah.
Because you're getting changes your stats. It's with your characters and everything. In Overwatch, while they don't change the way the game is played, it is again online function. They don't really the loot boxes don't really affect the gameplay. Yeah, it's a multiplayer game. This is not a multiplayer game. This is a single player game.
Mm-hmm.
What is the purpose of these boxes? I mean, if they're to make the game easier, that just seems a little it's counterintuitive.
Like Deus Ex did the same thing, where you could just buy the praxis points to do upgrades after you bought, the $60 game. You could basically just buy your way to unlocking whatever abilities you wanted, and it just seemed gross. I don't know. I often wonder how much money they actually make off of stuff like this, whether they actually make a fairly significant amount. But all I know is that I mean, I'm relatively certain there's probably just some bullshit that was shoved in here, after the fact. But speaking of some bullshit, all right, so Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice came out this week. And this is, I don't know, this story, you can see the headline for this before we actually start talking about it, John, is that this is kind of a spoiler for Hellblade in a way. Like, a lot of people in the comment section of this article on Game Informer were basically pointing this out as a spoiler. I don't think it really is, because it doesn't actually speak directly to the plot of the game, but I'm going to say that maybe if I don't know, I'm torn about this. Do you think? Have you heard about what we're?
I can't even read the title. You scrolled past it.
So
I don't think it's a spoiler.
I don't think it is either. But I'm just gonna.
But I haven't played the game, so I don't know.
Fair warning to you, the person. This, as near as I can tell, has zero to do with the actual story of Hellblade. But it is kind of an interesting thing. So when you start playing Hellblade, if you watch the videos, it happens I think it's the very first thing that happens is there's a screen in the game that basically says that, like, Senua has this, like, rot on her arm.
Yeah.
And it says if the rot gets all the way to her head, then your quest will be over. And the way that it was phrased led people to believe that this, and I think that there was something else that was
deletes your save file.
That it deletes your save file. Apparently it doesn't. Apparently somebody in an area, they got themselves killed just like over and over and over and over and over again, and could not get the game to actually do this. Now, a lot of the people in the comment section on here that I was reading were upset because they felt like the game lying to you that was a consequence ups the tension that you feel in potentially failing in the game, because you feel like at any moment the rug might be pulled out from underneath you, keeping you off balance in a game that's about a character with mental issues. That was meant to kind of like up the player's paranoia, and that by proving that it's not a thing, that you're then removing that paranoia and thus lessening the experience of the game. What do you think? You think that holds water?
I mean, I can see that point being made. In all honesty, when I heard that was potentially a thing, that if you died enough times that it would potentially delete your save. I was like, okay, that's cool. I don't care. I don't care if that happens. I mean, I know there are some people that were like, no, I don't think that's fair. I don't want to play a Permadeath game. I only want to play games where I can, regardless of how many times I die, I can beat it.
Right.
And my thing is that, you know, depending on what the story is, if that the way that insinuates that is a story reason for that, then I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Like if there's a story reason why you can't load that save game after you die a certain amount of times, I am totally okay with that.
Yeah.
But if it's a bluff, I don't know why that would be a bluff. Like, I mean, I kind of want, like, part of me was wondering, like, well, so is it a thing where you may, like, die a bunch of times and then, like, you save your game and then turn your console off, and then when you reload, it didn't save at the last checkpoint, it saved further back? Maybe, like, is that a thing that's going on? Like, it may randomly choose where the save point is for your save file, or, you know, kind of to where you're not done permanently, but you're to kind of go in with that insanity thing, going insane, like it maybe is not remembering correctly, as again a plot, you know, kind of a mechanic. I thought that would be interesting, but like, again, I if it's a total bluff, like it's not true, like it doesn't matter. Like, it comes to a point that someone else brought up, because at the time that I read the article, no one knew how many times you had to die for it to happen.
Sure.
And it's like, if it's some arbitrarily high number that even someone who had never played a video game before could beat the game without dying that many times, what's the point of that
why
mechanic?
Why even have it in there? Yeah.
Why even have it in there? But if it's so low that if you die like 4 times, suddenly it's game over, that's maybe a little harsh.
Yeah. I see. I'm sorry.
No. That's kind of like I'm kind of like, in regards to that, because I haven't played the game and I don't know anything about the mechanic, and I only read the one article that I read about it, so I don't know, you know, what its purpose is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't get that. I mean, we played it for about an hour on the dojo, and we got we beat the first boss. How long to beat says the game's about 7 hours long. The problem that I may have with it is that I don't know if I would be upset if the content was a little bit deeper. Now, I haven't gotten super far into the game, but what Amanda and I played, you're basically either finding these runes and then looking through the world to find the same pattern of runes to open a door, or there's a fighting mechanic that's kind of like super, super light Souls, where you're dodging, blocking, and parrying, and then going back to attack. And then in between that, it's mostly narrative focused, something like Enslaved or the DMC, right? Would be, but the problem that I have with even the concept of permadeath is, while I can kind of understand the reason for trying to get the player to be as mentally nervous or just off base, right? To shake them up a little bit, right? There's nothing to me more boring than playing through a part of a video game that I've already played through, unless there's something very different to the way that the content, it needs to be set up to allow for that, right? Like, to give you 2 examples, I played through Dark Souls 3 a bunch of times, but because of the way the AI is set up and because of the different ways that our builds are set up, you can approach every situation differently, and it's more of a reacting to the situation in front of you type of thing. On the other hand, Sundered, the game that we're going to talk about, the one from the Jotun guys, is a procedurally generated Metroidvania game, so every time you go in, it's slightly different, so you do get a different thing. So playing the same level over and over again isn't as much of a problem there. With this, I think it would just end up being boring, right? Because like in the beginning of the game, you're walking around in the environment. All you're doing is some light platforming. If it's the exact same story beats in the exact same levels, I feel like at that point, you're just kind of wasting the player's time, because like, what if you get to the end of the game and you hit this, you're on the last boss and you hit this trigger, and you got to start the game over. Now you got to play through the entire game all over again when you were right about to beat it. Like, I feel like that really just takes the wind out of my sails. Anytime that I like forget to save and I have to back up far in a game.
And I can totally understand that mentality.
I don't know. I don't know. This is one where I'm really interested to know what the listeners are thinking down in the comments about. What do you guys think? Is this something that you feel like? Because I know that Kojima had one time talked about he wanted to make a game where if you died once in the game, it would literally mar the disc so that you couldn't play the game anymore. So the only way
I do remember
to play it
that.
was to go buy a new copy of it. And I'm like, ooh, that's a permadeath right there, Kojima.
Yeah, that's
woo.
Yeah, I don't know if he would have gotten away with that one.
I understand why, because that does really up the consequences, and it really would make you very, like, if you started to
that
get
better
into
be a cheap ass game though.
When you get into a bad situation, you would just be
like, if I'm expected to go buy multiple copies because I died.
Yeah.
Like, even if I'm expected to buy 2 copies because I died once.
Yeah.
That game better be fucking cheap. I am not paying $60 to lose a disc and then have to buy.
Okay, so what would you think if somebody? This is an interesting thought experiment. What would you think if somebody marketed a game where they're like, if you die in this game, you have to buy a new copy? Let's say it's a digital only game, right? Let's say you can download it in 40 minutes.
$5.
$5?
That's my limit.
Okay.
If it's something where I may have to buy it more than once.
Yeah.
I will give them $5.
Well, what the other thing that I was going to say was that they've done like hella product testing, not just like internal QA testers, but like without external people. And they're like, we have tuned the game so that most people will die 6 times, and this game is $10, and it's a AAA title. So if it works the way that it's supposed to, you should end up paying $60 for it like you would a normal game.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd be more inclined for that. I mean, as long as it allows some death, like a couple times, like 6 times or whatever. I don't know. Like I said, that's kind of a. I mean, there was, if I remember correctly, there was a live stream game that was not a pay for thing; it was a free thing that only one person in the world got a copy of.
Yes.
And if they died, that game then was given to somebody else.
Yes.
And that person could never play that game again.
Yes.
I thought that was an interesting experiment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whatever happened to it. I'm pretty sure it just died after a while.
I'm pretty sure it did too.
But like, that's an interesting idea. But at the same time, those people got that game for free.
Yeah.
At least as far as I knew.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know if I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. Well, let's move on. Speaking of things that I don't understand.
Yeah.
Apparently, Destiny 2 on the PC is going to have some weird streaming restrictions.
Yeah.
There's a post that I was reading, and so I'm just going to read this. This is the rationale for this on Bungie's website. To help ensure that every player will have a fair shot at fun and glory in Destiny 2 on PC, we resist attempts by third-party applications to insert code into the game client. This may result in incompatibility between Destiny 2 PC and the features of modern third-party applications. Listed below are example application features which will not be compatible with Destiny 2. These include, but are not limited to, the examples outlined below. And one of the specific things that they're talking about is if you're running Destiny 2 in full screen, you can't use OBS or XSplit to stream it. So you can use an Elgato box or a Avermedia box or whatever. You can use a hardware solution. You can use NVIDIA like Shadow Play or whatever that is, and some of the other like hardware solutions, or you can make it into a full screen windowed and then draw the box like we used to do way back in the old days for streaming, right? Where you specify a piece of your desktop real estate to be streamed, but you can't add the application directly into OBS or XSplit directly. And I don't know why the fuck that would be. Like, I don't know if people have been using that as like a cheating, like a vector for squirting code into the game into Destiny. Well, Destiny 1 wasn't even on the PC. Yeah. I don't understand. What was the last Bungie PC game that they had?
Halo?
What was the
Halo Combat Evolved?
It can't have been that long, can it?
Because I don't think Halo 2 ever came out on PC.
Let's see. Mac, Windows, Oni? No. Halo 2. Yeah, Halo 2.
Oh, okay. Maybe Halo 2 did.
Halo 2, yeah. Halo 2 and then Destiny 2. So I wonder what it is that they're responding to. I don't know. Do you have any ideas? It just seems weird to arbitrarily limit just that one specific scenario, especially considered how Destiny 2 is a thing that's probably likely to be streamed quite a bit. Right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Huh. I don't know. I generally tend to think that when companies try to limit streaming of any type, it never really seems to go over super well.
Well, Bungie hasn't, it tends to piss off their fan base when it comes to Destiny every left and right. So
how so?
Dude, they're always like, I constantly hear stories of people just being upset about some change that they made to the original Destiny, or how they're fucking over original Destiny players with Destiny 2, and that the carryover stuff is just fucking bullshit because they lose all their progression and is insulting, and how, the whole thing, the fact that the first Destiny game, all of the story was in fucking cards that you had to read on the fucking website and not actually in the game.
Sure.
And stuff like that. It just seems like Bungie, I don't know, like it just feels like Bungie either is just doing stuff that's just pissing off fans.
Okay, fair enough. Well, speaking of places where speaking of developers that piss off fans, Gearbox is making a new game.
I heard about this because I got an email about being into the closed beta for this. It didn't guarantee that I would get it, but it told me that I could submit for it, and I said no.
Well, this is Project 1v1, a new competitive first-person shooter described as combining the fast-paced 1v1 first-person combat with the metagame strategy of a collectible card game. So it's a 1v1 FPS with card game. What?
Yeah.
So, okay, let's see. Battleborn didn't really work. What was before that? The pre-sequel?
Yeah, Borderlands. Well, the Borderlands games all, I think, did pretty well.
Even the pre-sequel?
Yeah, I think it did pretty well.
Okay. I don't know. I thought Borderlands was starting to get a little bit tired. But, hey, it's good to see that Gearbox doesn't do anything stupid like making Borderlands 3 or, you know.
No, we already know that they are working on Borderlands 3.
Oh, okay.
They revealed that.
I even knew that.
Yeah. But, yeah, this is just something different that they're trying. I applaud them for trying something different.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it'll work.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what. Because on the pitch for it has me curious enough to want to know, but at the same time, I don't care because I don't do, like, with the exception of like Overwatch and some fighting games, I don't do online multiplayer.
Did you play Borderlands online when you played it?
No.
You played with
I
friends
played
and
it by myself.
Okay.
Beginning to end.
Yeah. It's a weird one.
Yeah.
1v1 with card game FPS? The words don't sound right coming out of my mouth. Like, has there ever been a one-on-one first-person shooter where it's just you and one other person going at it? I mean, it sounds like the sort of thing that would be a weird.
I feel like there has. I mean, I know there's 1v1 modes, and like even like Overwatch has a 1v1 mode.
Does it?
Yeah.
3v3 was
no. There's a mode.
There's a one-on-one mode?
One-on-one.
Okay.
The characters are chosen at random, and you both are playing, I think, as the same characters, and then you face off against each other.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, but
I kicked some ass at Lucio Ball. Done.
I really wish I could play it because here's the thing that sucks. This is a tangent. I don't care. I want to say it.
Okay.
Overwatch.
Yeah.
They're having their big summer event.
Sure they are.
Last year,
Yep.
I had to miss the summer event. I can't remember why, but I didn't get to play any of Overwatch during the entire fucking summer event. And this year, I can't play any of the fucking Overwatch during the summer event. It's this specific event that I can't play, so I can't get any of the skins or anything for this fucking event. God damn it.
Have you seen the Soldier 76 Grillin skin?
I have seen all of them, and I have also seen that everyone's getting upset with the McCree lifeguard skin.
Why?
Because they made McCree pretty. He's got beach blonde hair, he's got like abs, and he's got like none of the like his scars are all gone.
Oh.
And like
That's not true.
they changed like his belt buckle
Yeah.
to SAMF.
Yeah.
So everyone's like, what does that mean?
Surfer ass motherfucker.
A lot of people are like, it means sad ass motherfucker.
Fucking Overwatch, man. I swear there's
everyone's upset because everyone likes McCree being like having scars and having the facial hair and
off. I mean, Jesus Lord in heaven.
So a lot of people are upset about it, but I'm not upset. I don't care. I just want the fucking skins, but I can't get the skins because I can't play the game because I don't have internet.
I want that Soldier 76 grill skin to the point where
Dad 76.
Oh man, I want it real bad. Real bad.
Anyways.
Yes. All right. Well, back to it.
Sorry, I had to get that off my chest.
No, I understand. Like a zombie clawing its way out of the grave, a story that just won't die, or the game just won't die. I had to put my hands together before, and I'll put my hands together again. Apparently, Sean Murray sent out a thing. There's going to be another update to No Man's Sky soon.
Apparently, it's going to be a huge one.
Yeah, it's called Atlas Rises, and apparently it's going to have quick travel using portals that you can go between different areas or between different places that you've been to in the game.
You mean the thing that they actually announced or pitched in the original trailers when they announced before the game even came out?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Glad that it came out now. Sorry.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm going to keep falling back on my argument of like at least it's in there now.
I agree. No, I
agree. As opposed to just like, haha, took your money, fuck off. You know?
No, at least it is coming in now, but it's just like that's something they showed to people when they first showed off the fucking game before it ever came out.
Yeah. I don't know. I have to still say that I think that it's laudable. I kind of want them to get to the place where they're all the way done and then maybe go back and start over the game from the beginning and just see, like,
I mean,
is it any
like
better?
I said, it's one of those things that I can honestly say that, good on them for doing that. I do wonder if it's all a little bit too little too late.
Right. Well, speaking of things that are not too little or too late, Fallout 4 is getting a Game of the Year edition.
Oh, snap.
That's going to have all the DLCs and all the blah 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 and all the stuff.
Kind of knew that was going to happen at some point.
September 26th. I don't know. I feel like this is the one. Like if you were waiting, that now it was all 6 Is it? Wait, was it 6 or was it?
I don't remember.
Even more. No, it was 6. It was 6 DLCs. I never got a chance to actually play the Nuka World one. The weird thing, though, about this was that this was an article on Bethesda's website, and it made me enter in my age to look at the picture of the box of Fallout 4. I don't know what the fuck was up with that. Anyway, we've got a bunch of different announcements, and that was the first of them. The next is that apparently, if you're waiting for the next game by Derek Yu, the developer of Spelunky, well, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer because it's not just one game; it's 50 games.
Yeah, actually, and it's not just him; it's him and a bunch of other developers are also working on it.
Okay.
So essentially I actually really am interested in this because essentially what the idea is that him and a bunch of developers got together. And developers of Downwell, Time Barons, and a few other games, but they basically said, okay, let's all make like NES era games.
Uh-huh.
And we're going to limit ourselves to only games that could work, that could have been released on NES. And then they're releasing it as UFO 50. And the premise behind it is that in the early days of the NES, there was a company that no one had heard of releasing games called UFO. And these are the 50 games that they released during the entire time before they went out of business.
Okay.
Now, in actuality, these are all new games that were just created recently. The idea is using the limitations of that era. This is new games using modern game creation techniques.
Yeah.
Coming up with modern ideas that wouldn't have it. Like, the idea behind it is that this company was way before its time, and that's why it went out of business, because no one understood the games. But nowadays, people would understand these games because we have tons of games like these.
Yeah.
It looks crazy.
Crazy.
And he said that they're not going to be like super long.
Yeah.
But they're not like mini games either. Like, it's like they're full-fledged games.
Right.
So I am 50 games, UFO 50. Look at the trailer; it's fucking crazy. There's a bunch of different stuff going on. I'm actually a big fan of this guy. I know Amanda loves Spelunky.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun, and there's not just him as working on this. There's a bunch of different talented creators.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea, and it's coming out next year. And yeah, I don't know it. I think it looks real fun. I can't wait to get a chance. I mean, it's almost like those where you would get those things where like 100 games on one card, right? Except that these are actually good games and not just like
we
a
don't
bunch
know
of.
that they're good games, but they look like
they look like they're good games.
Yeah,
I mean, they look like what you would expect out of kind of upper tier NES games, as opposed to some of the garbage shit that you used to see on those things.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely go check it out. I think you said it all. I think you put it better than I ever could. So, also, we are getting this week Severed from Drinkbox Studios is now out on the Switch. So if you have a Switch, go play it. I love Guacamelee so much, but I feel like this is such a situation like what happened with Chair, right?
Yeah,
where they made Shadow Complex and they immediately went off and started making like tablet games that I couldn't.
Though
play.
having said that. Infinity Blade was really good, and Infinity Blade 1 and 2 were really good.
Did they ever release those on Android? Because for a long time they were just locked on iOS. And I
think they were locked on iOS and also as touch screen games at like Dave & Buster's.
What? Okay.
Yeah, no, I went to Dave & Buster's and a local place that's like Dave & Buster's called Main Event here in town, and they both had that game, like Infinity Blade, yeah, where you would play and it would start. It was just the original Infinity Blade and on a giant touch screen, and you'd basically play through it.
That's real strange.
Yeah, it was really weird. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all, mostly because the touch screen sucked.
All right, fair enough. Let's
also,
see.
Because I could go home and play it on my tablet.
Yeah. Well, segue. I don't actually have a good segue for this. Apparently, there is more Titanfall coming.
Yeah.
Despite Titanfall 2 having a kind of a lukewarm reception, which I feel like is fucking goddamn, my brain is like a sieve today. Who was the publisher that's on that? Was that was it Activision? Was that Activision? If I say the word Activision more, will it help your memory?
No.
Titanfall.
But I know the Titanfall tablet game came out today.
Or was it EA? EA. It was EA. That they put that shit out too close to Battlefield 1.
They did.
And considering that that's EA as well, right? That like it was kind of fucked up how
it was like Titanfall, Call of Duty, and then Battlefield 1, like kind of like each a week apart.
Yeah. And then also the fact that the Titanfall Twitter was like taunting the Call of Duty, like was like talking shit to Call of Duty before it came out. Anyway, in spite of the fact that it didn't sell a whole hell of a lot, Vince Zampella, talking to GameSpot, said that they really do like the universe and they're going to be pushing forward and they want to make more stuff happen. And yeah, that's right. There was a tablet game that's out.
It just came out today. It's called Titanfall Assault. I just clicked download on it, so I'm going to steal all your bandwidth and download it.
Excellent. And I hope that it works, because I feel like Titanfall is a good universe, and I really enjoyed the Titanfall 2 single-player game. I even enjoyed playing multiplayer for it for a while. I feel like it's just, I don't know. I'm going to say this. I was watching Extra Credits today, and they had a video about like why things get pushed back or delayed or blah, 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 or how hard it is to do that. But I almost feel like Titanfall 2 would have worked so much better as a summer game. Like, don't put it up against Call of Duty. Put it up,
don't put it up against fucking Battlefield 1. That's your own fucking game.
Yeah, that's true as well. Like, if you put that thing out in like February, I feel like everybody's still got a little Christmas money rattling around. You're still looking for a new thing to play. That would be much better. Kind of like the way that didn't Overwatch launch in like March or something like that? Yeah, put it out when it's not going to have to go head-to-head with a thing, and then give people a chance to actually play it. That's my advice to you, Vince Zampella, as a guy who runs a podcast.
And has no knowledge of business and any of those things.
Obviously has no business savvy. So, John, this isn't specifically game-related, but I was wondering if you had any thoughts. Apparently, Netflix has purchased the publisher Millar World.
Yeah.
It's like Mark Millar's publishing arm.
So basically, the funny thing about Millar World is that the creation of Millar World coincided with the reveal that all of Mark Millar's Image comics are in the same continuity.
Okay.
Kick-Ass is in the same continuity as Wanted, is in the same continuity as Jupiter Ascending or Jupiter Rising or something like that. All of his books are in the same universe or shared universe.
Okay.
Basically, Wanted
Jupiter's Legacy?
Jupiter's Legacy. I mean, there's actually a trilogy of comics that deal with Jupiter. But yeah, the Jupiter's Legacy takes place before Wanted, then it's Wanted, and then Kick-Ass happens after Wanted.
Okay. That's weird.
Yeah. And then
is it just Millar books?
It's all books that he created, and then once he launched Millar World, he basically stepped and gave the books to other writers and artists.
Okay.
So basically, he's trying to create his own little shared universe corner of the world. That's great. Whatever. And him selling it to Netflix, I'm like, okay, that's fine. He writes for movies anyways.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of my biggest problems with Mark Millar, is that everything is done to be a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. Every single fucking thing he's ever done is to get into Hollywood.
Okay.
And I don't care.
Okay.
Because the movies that are based on his properties are good, like Kick-Ass, Kick-Ass 2, Kingsman.
Which it should be noted that Kick-Ass and Kingsman are not part of this deal because they're already licensed out.
Yeah.
So.
Wanted, Wanted the movie people didn't really like, but I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it either.
Yeah,
It's
that was fucked up because they missed the point of Wanted.
Yeah,
the point of Wanted was the Punisher kills the entire DC universe, not like the whole secret underground assassin bullet curving thing.
It was more of that the Legion of Doom won and the superheroes, the Justice League lost.
Right, right.
But anyways, but aside from all that, all of these things he's written were sold to movie studios as properties to be turned into movies or TV shows before issue 2 of the comic fucking came out.
Sure.
And that's actually where my biggest problem with him is that literally it's so clear, and the way he talks about stuff is that he doesn't give a shit about comics. He uses comic books to sell his ideas to Hollywood because his Hollywood won't touch him otherwise.
Okay.
And so, and like I said, the movies end up being so drastically different from the comics that it's who the fuck cares. Like, I actually think that Kingsman being as good as it is has nothing to fucking do with the comic.
Kick-Ass was pretty similar to the comic Kick-Ass.
Sort of, yeah, but there were a lot of changes that were made. But it's just like I said, it's like whatever. I don't really, he sold it to Netflix, good, because he probably wants to be in bed with Netflix, and I do question Netflix buying it from their point of view, going, aren't you like $20 billion in debt? Why are you buying a fucking comic book company?
I'm just trying to figure out what properties are they going to make Wanted into a series on Netflix?
I mean,
are they going to make
so other properties, like there's the, what is it, oh god, what the hell, Nemesis is another book that can be done,
okay,
unless someone holds the rights to it. There's also another, like a Superman or kind of like a Captain Marvel allegory that I can't remember the title of. Chrononauts is another one. MPH.
Superior?
Yeah, Superior is the one I was thinking of. That's kind of a Captain Marvel, Shazam.
Man, there's a lot of... Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they can still do with a lot of these, and it's just... And I do feel like...
There's not a hell of a lot of them, though.
Yeah, there's not a whole ton of them, but, I mean, I also feel like Netflix is doing that because of the recent news about Marvel. Outside of the Marvel Netflix shows,
Disney
is
off,
yanking everything off. Now that doesn't mean that they're actually just yanking the Disney movies, but there's a possibility that Marvel could follow suit.
Yeah.
Super Crooks is everyone claims that Super Crooks is what Suicide Squad should be.
Oh, okay.
The Suicide Squad movie should have been. Like everyone, that's what everyone calls it. Everyone's like, Super Crooks is what the Suicide Squad movie should have been. Like this is, if they can make a Netflix movie with this, it'd be fucking awesome.
Okay.
I've
never heard of this before, but I knew that you would know more about it than I did.
I feel like Netflix is probably doing this because they're worried that Disney's going to pull Marvel next, and so they're kind of like, well, let's get our own comic book movies that we own the rights to and don't have to worry about it. So let's buy this. And Mark Millar is probably going like, yes, I want to sell my stuff anyway. So fuck yes, buy it. I'm cool with that.
I mean, I don't know. I think I've not had as big a problem with Millar as a lot of other people do, but I think I definitely agree that like I think that it's good to sell his base concept and then completely fucking rewrite it with like a screenwriter and not. He's got this kind of edgelord thing going on that I'm always just like
I kind of lost my interest when Mark Millar at one point when he went on this big thing about how only he can correctly write Superman, and Superman needs to be completely rebooted and only he can do it correctly, no one else can do it. And DC needs to give him the reins and unfiltered, untouched, like let him have free reign to do whatever he wants with Superman. And like I'm talking like he's like, I have this like 500-page Bible that is everything that I want to do, and DC won't let me do it, and they won't even give me a Superman title. I did Superman Adventures and worked within their confines of that for a long time, which mind you, those were really good books.
Yeah.
He's like, but I want to take Superman, I want to fix him, and I'm the only one who can fix him. Superman's badly broken, and I'm the only person who can do it. And then I read some of the bullshit that's in that Bible that he put online. I'm like, no, fuck you. Stay away from Superman.
You stay away from Superman, Mark Millar. Oh, man. So,
I think he ended up turning a lot of that Bible into Jupiter's Circle or Jupiter Legacy or whatever the fuck it is. So, who knows? So, Mark Millar is kind of lost. Like he's gotten some good books. Like Huck was really good. Chrononauts has been really good. MPH was also really good. Mm-hmm. Which Huck is kind of a Superman story in a way. Chrononauts is basically just two dudes traveling through time.
Yeah.
MPH is kind of like a Flash story.
Okay.
And then I've heard nothing but good things about the Super Crooks or whatever the heck it's called.
Yeah.
But
okay.
So I mean, he's not a bad writer. I'm gonna say that he's not a bad writer. A lot of my irritation is that he purposefully, it very comes off as I'm using comics to get into Hollywood because they won't touch me otherwise. And I'm very much like, no, if you want to write comics, write fucking comics.
Okay.
If you want to write movies, learn how to write movies better and pitch them.
Okay, I can see that. All right, well, we got a couple more before we're going to get out here. First off, as a surprise that should affect absolutely no one, we got a quick look at the next Xbox system update where they are
completely
yet again
redesigning the dashboard.
Oh, gee. What does this represent? The 8th or 9th different major iteration?
It's the fourth.
Okay.
As long as you're not counting Xbox 360 dashboard updates, which went through 6 of them.
Yeah. I don't understand. Okay, so I have a really hard time with the Xbox thing because I feel like starting with the 2 updates before the end of the Xbox 360 lifespan, right?
Yeah.
That Microsoft has been just continuously, constantly fucking up their interface to the point where it's hard to find anything. I hate the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One interface right now because it's like I just want something like if it's modular, that's fine, but I just want something like on the PS4 where it's just a list of the games that I have installed and I can pick them. So much of this, and I'm curious to know, both you and the people in the audience, I'm curious to know, so much of this update is oh, well, you can pin your friend's activity to a page on the front page, or oh, here's a place where we can have a new offer from the store, and I'm I don't want any of that. All I want is just a list of the games that I have installed, and then I can launch the game that I want to launch. And right now, I don't know, it's difficult. The slide out bar on the current Xbox One UI has so much on it. It has so many little tabs and bullshit that I'm not really interested in. But anyway, this is yet another update, and it's going to allow you to have a little bit more flexibility as far as it looks like you can, like I said, you have pages where you can just pin directly like your friends' status or what they're playing or if they're streaming something or what.
Or you can pin news for a game, a specific game, or
yeah. I don't know.
You also have your own pins where you can just launch games from, which is the only thing I feel like you should be pinning to anything is if you have to pin things. And then, yeah, I'm...
Well, I mean, do you like the Xbox One? I know you use your Xbox One more than I
like my Xbox One. I play predominantly on my Xbox One. Xbox One is my console of choice.
Yeah.
I do feel like the first iteration of the dashboard was good, and each subsequent update to change the dashboard has fucked it up.
Yeah.
And this kind of makes me feel like it's only fucking it up more.
Like they talk a lot about how when you boot up now, the first thing you're going to see is this list, and on the left hand side is.
I mean, that's exactly how it looks right now, except the difference is the list is more horizontal than vertical, or than the way it is
it's
now.
on a bunch of different places, but it's just like, the first things that you've got here, you've got launch the game that's currently installed,
yeah.
But then it's like suggested friend, and then news to remap your buttons, and then don't miss out on these great anime deals. And I'm like, I don't want any of that. I just want to launch. Like, I want this thing. I want the second row that has the my games, and then maybe the last 3 games that you played. But I also don't want the new games with gold. I also don't want a sponsored link, especially if you're buying gold. I feel like you shouldn't have to look at that stuff. I don't know. I guess it just feels like.
So, I mean, the thing is that the current dashboard right now, and actually even since the beginning, has actually had all of that information on it.
Yeah.
Like it's just the way it's being displayed to you. And I feel like the fact that they keep changing it is just making it confusing.
I feel like they should start they should just get an idea, a unified idea of what they want to do, whether it's squares
Having said that, I don't care what they do with the home screen. The fuck it up, whatever. They're gonna do it. They're gonna do whatever they want to. I don't care because the home screen at least works right now.
Yeah.
They need to fix their fucking store. You can't find shit.
Okay. Well, I'm not even going to sit here and tell you that I feel like every store is broken. Like, Matt was trying to buy something on the PlayStation Store the other day, and I had to tell him, like, hit this, go here, do this, and then sort it by this, and you'll find it.
Well,
right
it's
there.
like at one point they had three different categories to access the store, but then they combined them all into one category, and just the way information is displayed makes no fucking sense.
Mm.
And if you want to find something, good luck. If it's recent, like, here's the thing. I play Rock Band. We know this.
Sure.
I play Rock Band. If I wanted to go buy a song from Rock Band.
Oh, that's where the problem is.
Well, no, if I want to go buy the song from Rock Band, I have to do it from within Rock Band. It is in. If I decide, like, I don't want to play Rock Band right now, I just want to, I don't want to go through menus and shit. I just want to go directly to the Rock Band item and I want to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Good fucking luck on that.
Yeah.
Because that ain't fucking happening. Because they've hidden that shit so hard that it's like I can't find anything. I can't, like, if it's an older game, like, I have to do the search bar and then I have to type in the game's name and then I have to hope to God that it actually pops up the game and not something else in the did you mean this field?
Right.
And then it's a fucking mess.
Okay. So you heard it here first, or you heard it here most recently, everybody.
Having said that, Xbox is still my console of choice. That's the weird part.
Fair enough. It just seems weird to me that it's almost like Microsoft has always had this thing it's since they moved to like Windows 8 where they were like, well, we've decided that we're going to completely rework how you interface with your thing, and then it's not worked right or well since then. Like, I kind of wish.
I will say that another update to the thing, their Mixer or Community, their Community tab looks like a fucking Pinterest page now, and that annoys the shit out of me.
It really does. It really does. Anyway, I don't know. We'll see when it goes live. Last but not least, let's not end the news stories on a low note. So, do you remember the AM2R, another Metroid 2 remake? That came out. So that was a one-man project
that you got shut down, and then they announced that they're doing a Metroid 2.
Yes. So after they after they shut it down, apparently at this point, Milton Guasti, the creator of the fan mod, was hired by Moon Studios to work on Ori and the new Ori and the Blind Forest game.
Oh, okay.
So
Good for
he's
him.
now working on Ori and the Will of the Wisps. So
Good for him.
woo! Who says that making a fan mod wouldn't? I didn't even know where I'm going with
I mean,
that,
what's
but
funny is that there are tons of stories nowadays where you're hearing about people who are like high-end game developers or are people that are working for companies that are about porting old games, like old NES games, to newer consoles or whatnot.
Sure.
Like people who worked on the Sonic, the new Sonic game that's actually more of a traditional 2D side-scrolling Sonic Mania. That was made by guys who made fan games, like who made Sonic fan games.
Yeah.
Like the bunch of the people who worked on the Mega Man Legacy collections or whatever. They're dudes who used to pirate games back in the day. Like literally the people who were the guys that pirated games or made fan version of games, they're all getting jobs. They're the guys making the games now. So I mean, I think that's great.
Yeah. Me too. And hopefully someday this guy will work his way up through the ranks and be able to make this best Metroid game that we ever played and just be like, fuck you, Nintendo. You could have had all of this. You could have had all of this if you would have just left it the fuck alone. And with that, let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to answer some questions, and I'm going to talk a little bit about a game that I played last week.
Can I talk about a game I played?
You can absolutely talk about a game you played. All right, so stick around, and you'll find out what we were playing, and we'll see you in just a minute. And we're back. Oh, it's been a long time. We took a week-long break there. Got everything together. Went water skiing. Got some hot dogs. Now we're back.
I've been sitting in this room this entire time, and that's what you went and did, you motherfucker.
Yeah, well,
you didn't invite me.
No, I said let's go, and then I thought you wanted to just check out my internet since you didn't have that much internet here. Anyway, we're back, and before we get into the questions, I want to talk about some stuff. So.
Yeah.
Last week on, I don't know, we don't really use any Friday that much, but last week on the dojo, Amanda and I played Sundered, which is the new game from the developers of Jotun, which is, God, who are these guys? Hold on, I'm looking it up. I should have. I'm sorry that
should have done this beforehand.
Should have done it beforehand.
Doing it live though.
Thunder Lotus Games, and I don't know. You know, it's weird. This is a game where it had a fairly rocky start, where you start out, and I feel like the game doesn't put its best foot forward. But basically, you play as a character who kind of wanders into this kind of cavernous realm where there used to be these kind of eldritch monstrosities, and there's also this kind of like cyborg faction that was down there, like trying to gain resources out of this particular society. And the story is largely not inconsequential, but very obtuse. Everything has real weird eldritch Cthulhu names, so it's hard to remember what anything is. But basically, the game is broken up into 3 different areas, and it is a procedurally generated Metroidvania game. So you start the game, and you run through, and it's actually pretty cleverly designed because this is going to be kind of hard to explain, but like when you go into one of the areas, it's got a bunch of boxes, right? So it'll have like a rectangle that then exits into a square that then has a rectangle that exits out of the bottom of it and then another rectangle on the side of it, right? So that layout of the level, like where bosses are located or where power-ups are located, is the same. But inside of that rectangle, then they will procedurally generate a series of levels of kind of jumping around and doing stuff. So it's different every time. When you die, you go back to the very beginning, and you can spend the currency that you've accumulated through your run to basically do upgrades to upgrade your shields and armor and bullets and luck and physical attacks. And then as you go through the game, like in a traditional Metroid game, you're going to open up shortcuts that go back so you can get to bosses and things easier. You're also going to unlock a whole variety of different weapons and platforming things that will let you access areas that you weren't able to access before.
Okay.
It's pretty good. The enemies are all hand animated. The environments and the enemies sometimes don't entirely match up because I feel like a lot of the it's all very hand drawn in the character sprites, and the environments are a little bit more generic. But it's pretty fun. And one of the things that's interesting about it is that the enemies spawn kind of at random. So each individual area has like 4 or 5 different types of enemies, and then they'll kind of just come in at a variety of different times. And then there's also times in the game where it took me a long time to figure this out. There's a tooltip that just says, beware the gong. And every so often you'll hear a gong, and enemies will just start coming at you like in huge waves and droves and droves and droves and droves. The game also has a really interesting system where you can plug in these little modifiers that have like gain 20% attack, but then enemies drop health potions less often, right?
Yeah.
And so there's kind of a combination of leveling up your character like you would in an RPG mixed with the skill involved of a platformer, of a Metroidvania-style platformer. It took me about 12 hours to get through the game the first time. There are multiple endings. There's no New Game Plus, which was a little bit irksome because I kind of wanted to go back through and just see what one of the other endings was. But all in all, I feel like for $20, it was a good experience. I can see where you would maybe go back in and play it on like a higher difficulty level, but all in all, I enjoyed it. I don't think that it's probably the best style of that sort of game because inevitably with procedural generation, things are going to be a little bit more loose, a little bit more sloppy.
Okay.
So you can't craft the individual encounters like you could in something like Metroid or Shadow Complex or whatever, where you have a specific type of challenge that is created for a specific, to test the limits of certain types of skills. So instead you're getting a much more kind of loose game.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy it. I did think it was fun to play. Yeah. So, and the art style and everything is really unique. It's interesting. There's some nice Cthulhu enemies that I really liked. There's some nice kind of robot mecha stuff that I liked. And the 3 different areas have kind of different topography. So the first one plays a lot like Metroid, but then by the time you get to the third one, you've got a very much more open air thing. So I liked it.
That's good to hear.
Yep. You said you had something that you played?
I did want to talk a little bit about a game that I've been playing.
What did you play?
Because I haven't had internet, so I've been playing a tablet game that I bought last week called Galaxy of Pen and Paper, which is a sequel to Knights of Pen and Paper.
That's on Steam, though, right?
It is on Steam, in addition to being a tablet game. It's made by Behold Studios. They're most known for Knights of Pen and Paper and also Chroma Squad.
Yeah.
It's very much in the same vein of Knights of Pen and Paper. I actually kind of wish they'd called the game Space Knights of Pen and Paper.
Okay.
But Galaxy of Pen and Paper is fine. But what I do like about it is that it feels like this is an evolution of what the Knights game was. So it's definitely there's the meta game of it's a bunch of people playing a role-playing game, a tabletop role-playing game with friends. Like you actually get to create the dungeon master in the game, like from scratch. Like you get to choose what he looks like, what kind of body style he has, what his name is, and then you also get to create characters as well. And it kind of slowly gives you more, unlike the first game where you immediately started off with 4 people that are all the same, the classes are set, and you have the DM. Now you start off with 2 people and you get to choose their classes, what they play, and then over the course of the game, more characters will show up that you control, the player characters.
Okay.
And it really feels like an evolution of what you want out of a sequel. It's an evolution of the gameplay. And, there's a ton of in-jokes. There's references to other games that Behold Studio has done in the past. There's even a Chroma Squad reference. So it's very easy to play this game and not feel like you're playing, like you could start over and you won't feel like you're playing the same game. Okay. Because there's also just a lot of stuff to do. And there's also, to the point where if you're playing the main story, there's side quests. Like you'll actually because you also control the dungeon master in addition to or the game master in addition to the players.
Okay.
So sometimes like you'll like, I want to do a side mission. Okay, well, what kind of side mission do you want to do? Let's do a find this thing mission. Okay, well, who do you want to accept the mission from?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, what thing are you supposed to be finding? What planet is it found on? You know, like it'll ask you like specific questions where you have to choose as the dungeon master. You have to choose these things, and then the game goes, okay, based on your choices, here's the scenario, kind of thing. And it's interesting because it's very much in the same vein as Knights of Pen and Paper. It is a game of a bunch of people playing a tabletop game that then slowly starts to be like, well, maybe it's not just a tabletop game. Maybe there's more going on in the story. Maybe there's some bleed over, because Knights and Pen and Paper, spoiler, like the world that they're playing in the game starts spilling over into the real world.
Oh, I never got that far.
And then when you actually beat the story of the game, then it has like this like randomly generated, just keep letting you do stuff. And this is kind of the same thing. So,
can I ask you a question about it?
Sure.
Was it free?
No.
Okay. So let me. Okay. Original Knights of Pen and Paper, I had a little bit of a problem with their PC release, because original Knights of Pen and Paper on tablets and portable devices was free, but then it had like either like some in-game currency and power and stuff like that. Okay, because on the PC you bought it was pretty much the same as the tablet, except they just gave you a bunch of the credits.
Yeah,
and I didn't like that, because it still meant that you would run out of credits and you'd have to go back.
I think they heard that complaint, because I don't think you were the only one that made that complaint. I think a lot of people made that complaint.
Yay!
And they kind of went, okay, well, we're going to release this game. It's $4.99 on tablet. I don't know how much the PC version is.
15.
Oh, that's weird. I don't know if it has more stuff in it compared to the tablet game.
Yeah.
But I really like it. Like, I'm really enjoying it. Now, mind you, I'm playing it, and it's, I apparently really like Behold Studios or Behold Games games. Because I like the original Knights of Pen and Paper. I like Chroma Squad a whole lot, so I seem to be a fan of this company, this development team.
Yeah.
So they're kind of hitting all the right buttons for me, and the fact that it's kind of a space theme this time around, so it's like you're traveling through the galaxy, you have your own little rogue band, and I do like the fact that there's even a mechanic where, let's say, because as you play it, you also unlock new classes.
Okay.
So let's say you want to play a different class, you can actually have a character switch class, which basically the player just puts their character in cryogenics and then re-rolls a new character.
Okay.
So you can actually try out different classes with the same characters and everything.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun, and like I said, the game is interesting because at one point, because it's all played on, because they're trying to be futuristic, so since they can't be together, they're playing using a new like computer program that allows them to see like a virtual room. Mm-hmm. So they're playing, and at one point in the game, like a bunch of internet trolls somehow break into their online chat and start trolling them.
Okay.
And then how they deal with that. And there's also like, apparently like one of the players has been blogging about the experience, thus pissing off people who are playing the beta of this game, of this RPG, saying that they're playing it wrong and are trying to purposely fuck up their game because they're not playing it correctly. And there's a whole bunch of stuff with that. It seems really interesting to me. Like, I really enjoyed it. I do see you're looking at the Steam page, and there's a lot of thumbs downs.
I'm just looking at I always like to read the negative reviews, because a lot of times, like a lot of these we're talking about on the PC version, they're just like, oh, there's a lot of bugs, and that's always such a subjective thing to me that I never count a thumbs down that's just bugs or...
Yeah, so I mean, it's
mostly positive at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I've really been enjoying it. There's multiple different types of combat. There's actual combat situations. There's things where you can make choices, like a character will pop up and it'll say, how do you want to respond to this character? And you can choose which way the character responds.
Yeah.
There's also space vehicle combat, which is interesting. So there's like different, like it changes up the gameplay style enough that it never stays boring, or it never gets boring, but it's also not so much that it gets annoying. Like, it's like I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and I'm enjoying playing it. But I really like it. I think it's worth checking out, and it's worth the $5 on if you have an iPad, or and I think it's also on Android. I think it's worth the $5 for that.
Cool. All right, well, let's jump into some questions. Mail at ragetech.com is the email address if you would like to send in a question. And our first one comes in from Alex. Alex says, hello, mighty Dongacles preachers. So I got a stupid amount of money for my taxes this year and decided to go buy a PSVR, Move Controller's camera, the whole works, and some great games.
That's what I did.
I was skeptical going in, but holy cowabunga, dudes, it's awesome. I even sent in a question about using the wands as controllers a few weeks back, and I totally understand the immersion now. Now, my question is, after using the VR headset for extended periods of time, I have been having weird reality distortions in real life where I feel like I'm in a VR game. It only lasts a few seconds, but it is a strange feeling, and there's a thread on Reddit about this feeling. I don't believe it has a name yet. Have you experienced these reality distortions due to VR? It seems like it only happens to some people. Rage on, Alex.
I haven't experienced it with the PlayStation VR, but I don't know if you remember. I talked to you about this when you first got the dev kit for
the DK2?
The DK2 for the Oculus. It was an Oculus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you got that and I tried it out here and like I was like, oh yeah, I played like 6 or 7 different games you had me play, and I think I played like a hacked version of Half-Life 2.
No, that was legit.
That was the VR version of Half-Life 2 that was out at the time. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I played all these different things, and then driving home, about halfway through driving home, my brain went, wait, are you still in VR? And I just had this moment of like, this is not a feeling I want to have while I'm driving. What the fuck? And like, it was just like a half second, like it was a split second that my brain kind of went, wait,
yeah,
okay, we're good. You know, like it took a second, and that was really weird. That's the only time that's ever happened, but I have experienced it that one time.
I have not. I could say with absolute certainty that I've never been like, is this reality?
Well,
I think maybe because I don't care whether it is or not. Like if it's a video game, then I'm doing very poorly at it.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't like like I sat there and went, oh my god, am I still trapped? Am I still sitting in Jeff's room on the Oculus Rift? No, I knew I wasn't, but it was just like my brain just had that moment of like, are you sure? Okay. Yeah. It was like literally just split second.
I think that Alex just has been playing Polybus, and I think that Polybus is actually programming him to become a secret government agent, so that
okay.
If Men in Black show up, Alex, to your house, if you see like a Buick pulling away with a bunch of guys in black suits and sunglasses on, you let us know. I mean, like I can't help you, obviously, but. Yeah, I've never felt that before. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I spend so much time looking at screens that I'm really aware of the difference between.
Well, again, I think mine was the fact that I literally took the headset off and then left and got in a car.
Oh yeah,
like
okay.
I think had I had some, which I think is the reason why I haven't had it since, is that if I had some downtime, because every time I play VR, I always like take it off and then have some downtime.
Yeah,
like it's like not a thing where I'm immediately going and doing something. Mm-hmm. But I think in that instance, it was because I immediately got in a car and my brain was just like had that split second of going, wait, okay, we're good.
Yeah,
I needed to make sure, but it was a weird feeling.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because when you're playing VR, there is a feeling you get where it's like, I know I'm in VR.
Yeah.
That you have that's like, I know this is not real. This is totally fake. And then you have that moment of, wait, I'm having that exact same feeling right now and I'm not in VR. Why am I having that feeling? And then it subsides like real quick.
I cannot say that I've had that feeling.
But it only happened that one time. And like I said, I think it was because I immediately got in a car and drove away.
Okay.
But yeah. Also, every time you say Polybius, all I can think of is the Channel 404 episode, 404 episode that Rocket Jump did for Hulu.
Yeah,
because that's a Rocket Jump show where they did a thing about Polybius.
Yeah, that's a weird one. That's a weird one. I can actually say that I got Castle Storm VR.
Yeah, I was curious, how does that work?
It's really strange. It's real strange because you're just kind of playing Castle Storm, but you're like just looking down on it in VR, and so you can just see the back of the castles and stuff. But what's weird is that whenever there's a cutscene, it then jumps you like you're sitting in a theater with like a helmet in the seat next to you and like popcorn and a drink and like 2 knights standing there, and there's a movie screen in front of you that's playing the cutscene, and then it all goes away and you're back in the world. So it actually does make me feel claustrophobic whenever it transitions from this big wide open arena where the thing is happening, and then it goes into the theater, and I'm just like, oh right, okay, whatever. I don't know. It's $14.99, and I would say that like if you if you don't own Castle Storm and you've been interested in playing Castle Storm, it's an interesting way to play Castle Storm. I would in no way recommend it as like oh man, you got to check out this new VR experience in Castle Storm, because it's like just playing Castle Storm in VR. Like you're still using the controller, you're still aiming, like it's still very much the same thing.
Okay.
So this is an interesting one. I feel like we've talked about this before. So this one comes in from Jack Sachs. This is Jack Sachs here. Maybe too late to ask at this point. What kind of games would you not play for a sequential? Any examples of common games that you've been asked to play but won't? Looking forward to whatever you decide to play for next Saturday. Thank you for them dope vids, y'all. And that's from Jack Sachs.
RTSs.
RTSs are I'll be honest, RTSs are hard for the dojo.
Yeah.
I have never had a co-host on the dojo who has been in any way interested in talking about an RTS. Like I can't get people interested in RTSs for the life of me.
Yeah. Like I can also say what was it? Rock Band 4 got like another story mode like for rivals.
Okay.
I wouldn't do that as a dojo either. Though I totally would if you were like, if you're like, nah man, fuck it, I want to play that as a dojo. I'd be like, all right, whatever, man, I'm down. I'll be in your fake band.
Did you know that I went back to, what was it? It was Rock Band. It was when Rock Band 4 came out.
Yeah.
And I generally I tend not to look at a lot of the YouTube comments because there's a lot of people in there who a lot of times are very mean.
Yeah.
And I'm a real, sissy pants who can't deal with meanies. But I swear to God that like in Rock Band 4, which came out like a year and a half ago,
more than that, but yeah,
somebody left a comment and it was just KYS, kill yourself. And I'm like, why? Like it was just you and me and like Joe and Sarah and Amanda. We just like played Rock Band for a little while. Like, and I'm like, what?
You know what actually made me upset about that video? This has nothing to do with comments. Is that at the time, like I was dying to, like it was. I showed up prepared for that shit.
Sure,
I had full costume and everything. I was ready.
Yeah,
because Rock Band is like my fucking game.
Yeah,
and my fucking voice was out.
Oh yeah,
and I could barely do anything.
Yeah,
I was so like, God fucking damn it! He would have to do this video now when I could barely speak and I'm having like issues.
Yeah. I don't know.
I was still really upset by that. But outside of that, I really enjoyed that video. I enjoyed recording it.
Yeah.
But anyways, like sequential stuff, like
so here, okay, we'll talk a little bit about. I mean, a lot of this is stuff that it also wouldn't be good for a dojo. Like if it's not good for a dojo, it's not good for a sequential. One of the main things for sequentials is time. So like people have been requesting The Witcher 3 forever, but that's so long. I'd be interested in some ways in playing Persona 5 because it would give me an excuse every week to play Persona 5 until we're done playing Persona 5. But one, I don't know that anybody who's a co-host on Rage Select, anybody, I mean not just Amanda, but like Matt or you or Jennifer or anybody would be interested in playing Persona for, like, even if we did hour-long episodes, we're talking about like over a year until we're done with that.
Yeah.
Like that's a huge place to, especially considering the way that viewership tends to kind of go in a downward arc as the longer we get into a sequential. I would never want to play anything that was too ridiculously long. Like BioShock Infinite went on for a little bit longer than I would have normally expected for a sequential, but I don't know. I thought it was fun. Anything with an excessive amount of dialogue, because then we have to listen and pay attention. Like I would never want to do
super awesome video game show, motherfuckers.
That's right. I would never want to play like a Telltale game, right? Part of me would like to play a Telltale game, but it's just such a different style of video than what we currently do, right? So, let's see, role-playing games, puzzle games, as is evidenced by the fact that when we tried our first sequential on Rage Select was going to be Portal 2, but Jason and I found that the same part of your brain that makes stupid dick jokes apparently also is the part of your brain that you need to figure out Portal puzzles.
Yeah.
So we just found ourselves for the first time speechless and unable to form a complete sentence, like while playing that.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, just something I feel like that's fun, right? Like that was one of the things that I loved about playing Doom was that Doom is a fun ass game, and I just like couldn't wait. Like every week, I just couldn't wait to play Doom. So, yeah, that's mainly it. That, and I guess like there's been a few people over the years who have wanted us to just straight up play like, I don't know, Galgun or like Senra Kagura for a full sequential, and I just don't know if the booby jokes are really going to hold up for that amount of time. The same is true with visual novels. I feel like get exhausting because you've got to like, I don't know. And the only real fun way to play a visual novel is you've got to read it out loud. You've got to act it out, and that is something that is weird to me. I don't know. I'm not having the most fun in the world doing that a lot of times when we do it. So,
I have tons of fun with it. So.
I know. I don't know. Can you think of anything that you like, just John specific, that you would want to do as a sequential?
I mean, that's the big one was
Dark
RTSs. Well, no, I mean that's fine. I mean, the big one for me was RTSs. Anything that's not. Like, I don't know, like it's hard to kind of explain. Like, there's a part of me that's kind of like, the part of me wants to say like, oh, like fighting games, and it's like, no, because the story modes of Mortal Kombat are really good. And,
like some people are asking us to play like Injustice 1, and I'm like, oh man, I would actually like to play Injustice 1.
The story mode for that's actually not that bad. Do a sequential of that, but like it's stuff like that. But it's like, for me, I'd say like you said, Telltale games, RTSs. Those are kind of the big ones. I do feel like I probably feel like I have less qualms with sequential stuff than you do. Like, you have more restrictions on it than I would.
Sure.
But I mean, for me, like I would love to do a sequential of, like, for example, Brutal Legend.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's RTS elements of Brutal Legend, and those sections are the only reason I wouldn't do a sequential of it.
Oh, I got another reason. It's because I have to turn the fucking music off, or else,
I know.
It's going to get content ID flagged all to hell. May not even with music. The problem is, and the thing with music is, it's not even necessarily content ID flags. It's the fact that sometimes with those music flags, it'll just say like, can't watch it in Germany because that band has a different management company in Germany that has put like a 100% lockdown.
Yeah, no,
on
I know.
any of their stuff coming through.
Yeah,
so.
no, I know, and it's just, but it's like. But for me personally, it's those RTS elements that they're the reason that I probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But
also, sorry.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Just Telltale games and
South Park, Stick of Truth. People have asked for a lot of times. Just got to be honest when I say that South Park Stick of Truth is funnier than we are. So we would just be like playing the game and then being like the audience and just like laughing at the jokes in South Park Stick of Truth because. Yeah, if a game is that much funnier than we are, then there's not really a whole hell of a lot of reason to play it. So anyway, mostly though it's just kind of a case by case basis.
Yeah.
So let's see. This next one comes in from Nemo Hose, who says, "Hey Jeff and John." This is more of a question just for me, John, but I don't know. I actually no. You know what? I don't know. I don't know what podcast you listen to.
I don't.
And he says, okay, on one of your many podcasts, you put me on to the Cracked podcast. I gave it a shot, loved it, and the music they featured. I was just wondering, what were your thoughts about Jack O'Brien leaving and the music being cut? I personally really miss the music and Jack's corny jokes on the topics. Thanks for the awesome content, your loyal patron, Nemo Hose.
Yeah, see, I don't listen to Cracked
podcasts. I'll keep it short. Jack O'Brien, over the course of the Cracked podcast, has started to become a little bit irritating to me. He used to do, you know how a lot of podcasts, especially podcasts where they're talking about a specific issue, right? Mm-hmm. They start the podcast and then there's like a kind of an introduction to the episode, right? Where they'll talk about, or a lot of times they'll announce like, oh, we're going to be at the blah, blah, blah in September, or, like go to NatureBox. It's got NatureBox. His little intros where he talked about what they were literally going to be talking about on the podcast got longer and longer and longer and longer to the point where I was like, am I honestly skipping 7 minutes into this podcast before you start talking about the thing that this podcast is about? Like, that's kind of weird. But on the other hand, I mostly liked Jason Parge and David Wong on the Cracked podcast, and he hasn't been on since Jack O'Brien left. So, or I feel like he might have been on once, but I don't listen to them on a weekly basis anymore. Sometimes I'll go back and listen to them if I'm interested in the topic, but it used to be that I wouldn't miss one because they had some just like really sharp episodes in the past.
Yeah.
That being said, Jack O'Brien was sometimes really irritating to me, and Nemo everybody's welcome to like what they like, but Jack O'Brien also had this taste in music where I'm just like, you just fucking like it's the same thing every week. Like it was always a rap song every week, and I'm like, okay, I mean this is like episode 70, put something different in. Anyway, we got a couple more questions here, then we're going to be done. Will writes in and says, hello, Jeff and John. After watching your video on the Dark Side Detective, I bought the game through Steam and played it. While I enjoyed playing a well-put-together, self-aware adventure game, one thing that I did not like about it is the fact that it had hidden achievements. In fact, about half of all the achievements in the game were hidden. I personally do not like that at all. Even for games that I enjoy, I get no enjoyment out of doing random things in the game world, hoping to stumble upon an achievement. I need a specific goal to work towards, whether I am trying to earn an achievement or just playing the game. How do you feel about hidden achievements in games? Thanks, Will.
I don't care.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, there was a time when I jokingly cared about achievements, and when I say jokingly, I mean like it was more just to piss off a friend who did really super care about achievements, and I used to lord it over him because I just play games to play games.
Yeah.
I don't care if I don't have all the achievements. I don't care about 100% scoring every achievement or platinuming a game on the PS4 or whatever. Yeah. I've done it a few times because those games were so simple that I just did it just through playing the game. But I don't. It's just I don't care. Like it's hidden achievements are. You know, if there are places you can go look up what those hidden achievements are, GameFAQs.com. You can go look up what all those hidden achievements are and see what it is, and if you really need to know. But at the same time, it's like if I can get full enjoyment out of playing the game, just playing the game, and then I don't get all the achievements, I
think that a lot of times the reason they do hidden achievements is because they're spoilers, or they would be a spoiler for the story of like you know beat Club Andrew Ryan to death with a golf club. Like you know that if you look through the achievement list, they don't want you like spoiling individual plot sections of the game.
Yeah, and then like also some games they hide all the achievements because they want you to find out what they are. But
I think that for the for me it doesn't. I don't really care, but it's mostly because like John, I don't really care about achievements. I think that the only time that I really did care about achievements was the one time I think that I platinumed a game, or maybe it was the Xbox equivalent, whatever the gold or whatever
trophies
was.
If you get all the trophies on a PS4, you platinum the game.
Was that I beat the game and had like 2 achievements left to get, and one of them was beat the game on hard, and one of them was like beat the last boss without taking any damage or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love Guacamelee. I will willingly play this game again on hard. I will willingly try to beat the last boss without getting hit a single time because I love the fucking combat system in this game, and I did it. And I was like, yay! But that was like the only time that I ever did that. I don't know. It's funny. I'm looking through these achievements. I mean, the names of them don't really seem to be specifically spoilers, but I don't know. You know, in your email, Will says, I get no enjoyment out of, I need a specific goal to work towards, whether I'm trying to earn an achievement or just playing the game. My goal is always just to play the game. Like, I could care less about the achievement.
Yeah, kind of same here.
Unless it's like an upgrade thing, like you remember how like Uncharted made some of the achievements also like they were things that if you did them, that you got upgrades inside of the game.
Sometimes I didn't know. I don't remember that.
Do that, yeah, because there was a whole thing in Uncharted where you would unlock, like if you got all the treasures, you would unlock stuff, or if you shot people in a certain ways, like you would unlock stuff. So that I feel like is a place where I would go for, but only when they affect the game itself. Otherwise,
I mean, also there was like the Ubi Club thing that they tie certain achievements to Ubi Club things, and that if you get enough points in the Ubi Club, you can spin it on like
Oh yeah, like
in-game
cosmetic bullshit.
items. Yeah, I mean that maybe, but
yeah. All right, our last one comes in from, I'm going to call this person A. A says, hey, Jeff and John, pop quiz, hot shot. Say you traveled in time, let's say to the 50s. Your only way back is to prove to the world that time travel exists. Do you resign yourself to a new life and disrupt the time stream, or go for the high probability of being labeled insane? What do you do? What do you do? Sincerely, your worst nightmare. Hey. So, okay, you get sent back in time to the 50s. We have to convince the world that time travel exists in order to go back to the current day.
Yeah.
Do you think you could do it? Do you think you could find a way? I don't know
prove?
if yeah.
No, because I don't know anything about the 50s.
I feel like you could. I feel like the longer that you remained, the better chance you would have. So
yeah. I will say, like, if I knew that the only way I could get back was to prove that I was, to prove that time travel existed.
Yeah.
And I knew that I couldn't prove it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, time travel exists. Put me in the loony bin. I'm going to be like, no, I'm just going to fucking live my life.
I bet I could prove that it existed. Because I don't know enough about the 50s, but what I do know is there are some major world events that you could, as you were, like, if you could remember, like, let's say, okay, what year was the JFK assassination?
I don't fucking know.
Okay. Well, you would at least... Okay. All right, look. John, you know that JFK was assassinated in Dallas, right?
So you're just describing the plot of whatever that fucking book is by Stephen King.
Oh, yeah, 1165.
That was
whatever.
on Hulu, starring
right.
Franco.
Right. Okay, but if you thought enough, you could probably figure out an industry. You could probably think of an industry or like a person that did something that was either born or young or like, so you could go work for, you'd have to like get your bearings right. You'd have to go get a stupid job, and then you would go find a person that you know was going to make it big, right? Depending on what area of the country you're in. Just rack your brain. You're going to be able to figure out something, right? Like I don't know. We'll figure it out. Like whatever. Go hit your start at them and get some money, and then like use that money to get like on or a technology. Like let's say that television, right? You want to go work for that scrappy national broadcasting company. Like I hear they might do good things one day, right? Or whatever. Go work. Go buy, and then once you get enough money, then wait for like a computer company like IBM or something to like offer their initial public offering, then buy controlling interest in IBM and Microsoft. Go find Bill Gates and give him money or whatever. Use that to get on TV and then be like, I am from the future. That's why I'm so rich, and I will prove it to you. I am going to write a thing on this envelope, and we're going to put it in a safe where nobody can get to it. It's going to be on guard 24 hours a day. And then at a certain point, I'm going to tell you to open it up, and it's going to tell you the future. And then you just wait for like a big world event. Like it doesn't even have to be a bad one. It could be a good one. And you could just be like, or you could get a bunch of safes, and you could just be like, I know who's going to be president. And I know what's going to happen. I know what the moon landing is, blah, blah, blah. Or you just do that until there's so much incontrovertible evidence that they can't help but declare you a time-traveling king. And then you disappear, proving time travel was correct. Yeah, I could do it. I could do it, man. I could totally do it. Send me back. Put me in, coach.
I'm going to be honest.
Put
like,
me in.
If I was to, like if it was like, oh man, I'm stranded here, and like they were like, the only way you can get back is if you prove that time travel exists.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how that would work. I just have to, if I have to make, the world believe that I am a time traveler, I'd just be like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to live my life.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to fuck the timeline up hardcore. I'm just going to be like, guess what, America? It's 1952. I'm making sushi a thing now because I want sushi. And there ain't no sushi place. Everybody's like, oh, raw fish, well, I never. And you're like, no, you got to try it, bro. Like, quit calling me bro, young man. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. I mean, it'd just be a thing. I'd just be like, fuck it, man. I'm just going to get a house somewhere and,
Or you could take a thing that hasn't been invented and just pretend like you invented it, right?
Yeah.
So it's in the 1950s. It's going to be a while. find like 4 smart guys and make answering machines before whoever in history made the answering machine.
I just end up going to Hollywood or whatever and just like getting, like you said, like getting into the TV business or film business and just live my life. I'd be like, I don't fucking care.
Oh, what you could do is you could go to Hollywood and find that scrappy young Harrison Ford back when he was a carpenter and just like be his best friend and
50s?
hang out. Yeah.
In the 50s?
He was born in the 50s. Was he born in the 50s? No, wait, how old is Harrison Ford? When was he born? I mean, okay, maybe he's a little kid, right? You could be friends with a little kid in the 50s, right? I don't know how that's going to help. I guess you'd have to wait for a long time for him to become an actor.
Yeah.
So, no. He was born in 1942. Goddamn, Harrison Ford's 75 years old? Jeez.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can hang out with an 8-year-old Harrison Ford. What a stupid thing to do.
But I would legitimately just be like, well, I'm trapped here. All right, let's make the best of it.
No way, man. I'm gonna alter all. I'm gonna be the fucking puppet master. I'm gonna alter everything. I'm gonna expose Nixon. I'm gonna like go and they're gonna make Nixon.
Turns out you're the reason Watergate happened.
Pay me a lot of money and then go to fucking Robert Redford and what's his name? My brain will only say De Niro, but that's not the right thing. Anyway, I'm going to make Watergate happen, but I'm going to do it, and then, I'm going to make Nixon pay me a lot of money. I'm just going to be Biff from Back to the Future 2. Basically, I'm just going to take over this town, and, that'll be it.
Okay.
I can do it, though. I can do it. Put me in, coach. With that, we are done with the podcast. mail@rageselect.com is the email address. If you would like to send in a question, please do send in questions. We always appreciate if there are questions to answer. You know what? I honestly feel like send in your silly time travel scenario because that was a really fun question to answer.
Yeah. I had a boring answer for it, but,
This guy's like, can you do it? John's like, no. I'm like, yes, and here's how.
And I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, if I could be like, time travel exists because I have my iPad.
Yeah.
And here is this tiny computer from the future.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to do that. Like, I'll be like, here's this, and here's these other things that prove that I am a time traveler.
Yeah.
You're
just gonna get burned at the stake for being a witch with that voice. We're gonna be like,
I would do that, but I mean, if it literally, like, I was sent back to the past and got trapped there, and I had no proof on me, like there was nothing from the future. Whatever I had, like, I had to find a way to prove that time travel exists just with my knowledge.
Yeah,
I would fail. To do that. So I'd be like, I don't want to be in a loony bin. I'm just gonna live my life. I feel like I'm at a point in history that I can probably get by living a fake life.
Okay.
Like, not actually being like, that the government's not going to know I'm not a,
Oh, right. Well, it's 1950, right? You just walk in and be like, hi, I'm George Smith. I would love a job, please.
Yeah.
You have to shave, though.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
But, and then, like I said, probably go to Hollywood and get some type of job there and, just move forward.
You could invent the Let's Play. 50 years ahead of time.
Before video games,
I've invented the Let's Play already, and audiences, and it's just Back to the Future, where it's like, I guess that's a little too advanced for you, but your kids are gonna love it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's literally just video of me playing Monopoly.
Yep, that's it. Thanks everybody for watching. This has been the Super Awesome. No, this has been the Super Awesome Video Game Show.
Wow.
The Rage Select Podcast. I'm a little loopy today, folks. But that's it. See ya, everybody.
Later.